and welcome to Nashoba Now. I'm Michael Wood, Superintendent of Schools for Nashoba Regional School District. In the next half hour, I hope to share with you the things that are going on now in Nashoba. Hello, welcome to Nashoba Now. I'm Michael Wood, Superintendent of Schools for Nashoba Regional School District, and thank you for joining me. We are talking a lot about the end of the year in this episode. We have a lot of things going on. I know it's the end of the year for our students and for many of our teachers, but for others of us, we are using the summer break to do a lot of planning, review of data, and to be able to hit the ground running for all of our students and teachers in the fall. To start with, I wanted to update our communities on where we are on our concession stand at the high school. It's a very exciting project to be coming to a conclusion. It's almost ready to be open. I have a few pictures of where we are. I want to thank Bill Cleary, our Director of Facilities, for doing most of the work in engineering it and bringing it to completion, being our project manager for the building. It looks fantastic. We're also very appreciative of the work of the athletic boosters who ran fundraisers for a brick project, and those bricks are about to be put in place for the walkway to the entry to the stadium, and it really looks exciting, and we hope to have a grand opening yet to be planned so that our communities can come and enjoy concessions run out of the new building. It's also a time where we begin to recognize our student achievement, and one of the top achievement that can be won and earned is the Valedictorian, and this year it goes to Emily Kastner from Lancaster. Emily is the top student at Nashoba Regional High School, and our Salutatorian is Pablo Aldapi, and Pablo is a very fine student in his own right. And while this is not a competition, it's a recognition of their hard work, their academic achievement, and their effort in all areas, but obviously in academic coursework throughout the years in high school. While we're talking about achievement, one of the things that we do to recognize achievement along the way is using our honor roll. And this is an important, I think, encouraging way to recognize the hard work that kids do and perform over the course of their grades in grades 6 through 12. Up to now, we have had independent honor rolls in the high school and the 3 middle schools. And now that we have a common report card for the middle schools, it's important that we're calculating honor roll in the same way. So we are in discussion about the honor roll, and we'd love your feedback as well. We began that discussion at the school committee at our last meeting, and we'll be continuing it through the month of June and into September before a final recommendation is made. Right now, the proposal is to have honor roll be 2 categories, high honors and honors. And high honors would be all A's, and honors would be a 3.0 or B or better up to a 3.74. And so the high school uses GPA to calculate honor roll, and we are still in conversation about how that could look. Right now the proposal is not to include C's or D's or F's in the honor roll, and so that we're really recognizing students who have high achievement. And that's something we're still having a conversation about, because the question becomes, what about students who are taking the most rigorous courses at our high school, and those courses have weighted grades, and so what if they get a C, but it's a 3.2 C, and should that be considered for honor roll status? So that's where a conversation needs to be had, and questions are being asked, and so we're trying to listen and get a balanced consensus around what should we do moving forward. Currently, you could earn a C, a 3.2 on a weighted scale at the high school, and actually at one of the middle schools, they also allow an average score, including a C. So we're looking at that and asking ourselves, does C mean that you have reached a level of achievement that should be recognized in this particular way? And so we need your input and have to understand what the communities would like to do moving forward. Looking at high schools in our comparison bands, it's about split in terms of what's being done. So there are some high schools that continue to recognize C as a level of achievement when considering honor roll, and there are some that don't. So it really is, what does Nashoba want? What do the parents and students think should be considered for high academic honors and academic honors at the schools? What this will do, of course, is give us consistency over our middle schools, which is very important because we know that conversations happen at the soccer fields and the parent nights and so forth. And so we want parents to know and understand that no matter where you go to school for grades 6, 7, and 8 in Nashoba, you're going to have the same kind of experience and the same kind of academic honors that will happen in any of the schools as they prepare to attend Nashoba Regional High School. And that's, I think, important too, because I think it gives all of our students the same base of understanding of what does achievement look like as they enter the high school. The other difference in this honor roll system that we're proposing is that for the middle school, that we would recognize that you have to have a certain level of achievement in your habits of mind categories as well. This is a new area of the reporting system that we've been talking about and are implementing this year and will be in full implementation next year. It really is a recognition that students who aren't putting forth the effort that they should would be essentially not considered for honor roll. And so, as an example, let's say a student earns all B's, but is not recognized for their achievement, and so, their effort. And so we would not consider them for the honor roll because in terms of what the teachers are seeing on a day-to-day basis, the student isn't putting forth the kind of effort that he or she should, and therefore, if they had, they probably would be earning better grades. And so it's another way to report to the student, to report to the parent that we'd like to see different practices in the classroom, on the homework, on the day-to-day responsibilities of the student and the day-to-day effort that we see in the classroom. So that's a conversation that we're having, and we'd like your input on that as well. That does not continue into the high school as of yet. We've temporarily put a hiatus on reviewing the report card until the NEASC process is done at the high school. And though there are pieces of the NEASC report that will talk about habits of mind and looking at the civic behavior of our students in the high school, and we'll have to have a way of reporting on that, and that will be a consideration when we get to that point in the report card process at the high school level. So I talked earlier about this is a time for future planning and work that we'll be doing. Believe it or not, we've just finished annual town meeting for the year, and that approves our budget for the upcoming year, and thank you to our 3 communities for supporting education in our 3 towns and the high school. We very much appreciate that. We're actually going to be starting a process to look at planning for next year, and this is our window between now and December to really get people's thoughts and input on directions that we want to take. The good news is we're not embarking on something totally out of the ordinary. They're mostly things that we've been working on and we're going to continue to work on, but we're at a level where it's going to take on a sense of demand on our time because we've got to make some hard decisions about curriculum and instruction and assessment around these areas. One of the areas which I think will come as no surprise, of course, is digital learning. And we've been, I think, on the forefront in providing our kids with curriculum that embeds technology in their classes. We want to ramp that up even more. This year we've been doing some work with Bring Your Own Device at our high school, and that's been slow, but it's been consistent with the kids that have brought in their devices. But we see a need for more devices in order for the expectations to be ramped up. So we're going to have to look at how we're going to be providing those devices so that kids can have access to technology embedded in their curriculum, embedded in their daily practices in the classroom. And one of the things we've learned on our research in talking with educators that are working with a variety of digital initiatives in their districts is that when teachers have authentic purpose for technology, kids really get excited. It's when teachers are not able to count on the technology, so they make technology a second thought or an option for kids, that kids don't necessarily see the value of using technology, and they won't necessarily be encouraged to do it on their own. So one of the things we have to do is to make sure that technology is available on an everyday basis to those teachers who see it as purposeful for their curriculum, purposeful for their instruction, and certainly in the coming years, purposeful for assessment as well, because that's where students will be taking tests, is using technology. The other conversation, and this is a newer conversation, but it's been one that's been evolving. We've been talking a lot about STEM in the district and trying to develop more opportunities for our students at the high school level for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and the integration of those subjects in courses. And Dr. Graham and the staff at the high school have been working with our STEM coordinator, Martina Kenyon, and developing those courses and developing those opportunities at the high school. We want to see that really start to be explored. What we're talking about now is trying to create pathways for kids, that kids who have a real STEM interest will have the opportunity to develop a course load that really is STEM oriented and really has a STEM flavor, and teachers who have STEM connections across into English, into the humanities, into the arts, and allows the student to really start to make connections around, between, among the subjects of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about a pathway, and we're trying to create more of those for kids because we know that STEM isn't for everybody. We also want to have a fine arts pathway, a place where students who are really engaged in the arts, whether it be music, graphics, art proper, really will be able to spend time, immerse themselves in those studies, and again, make those connections to mathematics and ELA and the social sciences with an arts emphasis. And hopefully we'll be able to begin to develop that kind of pathway in the next year or two. A newer one that we haven't really begun talking about fully, but we see a lot of energy for it at our high school, and that is around innovation and entrepreneurship. And this is exciting. We have a lot of kids who are very invested in our business program and the courses that we offer there. And we've really got to look at a way to enable them to explore more opportunities and to, again, make connections between and among the other disciplines so that kids see a value for ELA, for English, for writing, for purpose when they're talking about innovation and entrepreneurship. And the last one, again, a very new one, we've got to really explore this and figure out how it could look, is global studies. And it's a very general term, and it can mean a lot of different things in terms of curriculum. And what we want to look at for this one is really looking at our social studies and our humanities curricula and understand the world from really a global perspective. So this would involve really looking at the 5 strands of global studies, whether it be the economics, the political history, the geography, the topographical nature of the world, and just world history in general, and making those connections to, again, other disciplines, and understand and put in context, why did the Industrial Revolution occur when you're talking about the business world, and how did that relate back to issues and events in the world at that time. And so that's an exciting opportunity, and I think even more today when we look at the reality that most of our students graduating from Nashoba Regional High School will have a connection to a global entity far more than you or I, those of us from my generation, have or will have, because they're going to need to. So they're going to need to know languages. They're going to need to know culture, which I think is a huge part of understanding diversity and understanding a sense of where people come from when they try to solve problems, and try to understand why certain practices exist in the world today. And so global studies is a very exciting possibility. I think that there's a lot that can come out of that. It certainly is connected to the business world. Obviously, STEM is connected to global studies, and that we want to look at the science and technology innovations that are happening all across the world so that we can learn from them. So I think that's another important pathway. Some of these will have very defined courses that connect to each pathway. Some will have options for kids to pick and choose from each pathway. But I think it's something that we want to talk about and figure out as we move forward, because we have a lot of decisions to make regarding curriculum and instruction and assessment if those are the directions that we want to go. Another area that we've begun conversations about and that we need to continue to evolve our thinking and plan for the future is around early childhood. We've started an initiative around all-day kindergarten, and the board is committed to looking at this each year and asking ourselves, how do we want to move forward? Do we want to have all-day K? If we do we want it for all kids? And how do we have half-day kindergarten options for those parents who may want those in the coming years? And what's our position on that? And so the board has committed to having this as an annual conversation until it evolves to a point where there's really a good consensus of the three communities as to where we should go. One that I think that needs to be on the table as the state begins to flesh out its thinking around preschool. The governor has made a commitment to preschool options for students 3 and 4 years old. This has huge implications for us in terms of space and providing the right faculty for 3 and 4 year old programming. So we're going to be exploring this, dipping our toe in it, beginning to understand what we could do to offer it, and also take a look at what the need is. We're fortunate in our area that we have a lot of very high quality early childhood providers, and we have a good, strong connection with those entities. So this is something we'll be looking at and beginning to map out what kind of objectives we want to have when it comes to preschool. And then lastly, again, something we've begun and something we're moving forward on is really looking at our high school. In talking about those pathways that I mentioned, we want to really explore and define what is it that we think high school education looks like in the 21st century, and look at it for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years in terms of what kind of space needs to be designed to support that. And can we do that with our existing footprint of space, and can we remap or retool or renovate our existing footprint so that we can meet those needs? And if we can't, what kind of added space would we need to make that happen? And that's something that I think we need to spend a good deal of time on. We have a space study committee that's going very well. I'm very appreciative of the town boards who have volunteered liaisons to our committee. And we're going to be doing high school visits in the coming 2 weeks so that we can get an idea of what do other high schools look like that have built in the 21st century. How have they defined 21st century education space? And so we hope to have a preliminary report, if not in June, very early in September. And part of that report will be a timeline of events that we think we want to be using for milestones so that people understand what needs to happen when in order to get in the queue for being able to do some of the things that the high school has planned. And of course, through all of that, we also have the NEASC study that will be coming in March of 2015. And when that report comes out, that would also inform our process about where do others see our high school in terms of matching space with curriculum and instruction. And you know, do outsiders coming in see us as being able to align 21st century expectations with our curriculum and meet the needs of our students. So that's where the future planning of our district is at. We'll be having some conversations at the school committee level. You'll be hearing references to the district improvement plan. That's our document that we use to, again, flesh out that roadmap that we have. Part of this is also, in general, attached to strategic planning so that we can align resources and communicate to our boards and our communities where we will need resources or an infusion of resources or where we'll be moving resources to be able to meet the needs of our curriculum. And I'm sure that we'll have lots of conversations about that between our meetings this June and again in September. So since it is June, of course, we have graduation coming up, and that's always an exciting time. It is June 8th on a Sunday at the DCU Center. It starts at 1 p.m. This year we have videos that will be available to our senior parents and families who want to see the event and over and over and over again, which I'm sure will be a great joy to, sense of joy to our parents. It's really an exciting time to reflect on 13 years of school. It's certainly a milestone in the lives of our seniors and their families. And it's a time to reflect on not only where they've been, but where they want to go. And how they want to use the education that they've been given and that they've earned and they've worked hard at over these last 13 years, and really begin to map out their goals and their hopes for the future. And so we certainly wish them well from the staff at Nashoba Regional School District. We have 232 seniors, and they're in the process of doing their final exams now. And certainly they will be then doing their practice for marching next week, and then they will be graduating. So it's a very exciting time. And of course, in June means that we will be having a last day of school for everybody else as well. It's not as early as the seniors, of course. It is Thursday, June 19th is our last day still. And of course, barring any unforeseen event that cancels school, we'll be closing at a half day. Our teachers use the remainder of the day to complete assessment reports and record keeping for the school year. And that's an important part of the data collection I mentioned earlier in the show. We'll be using to look at and examine and put into practice interventions for the fall as well. And that will also inform our district improvement planning process that I mentioned. And lastly, I will just mention that we are in the process of doing our bus routes now for the fall. This is something that we've tried to do earlier and earlier so that we can make sure that we have the right information and we get them back at the central office so that we can look at them and study them and make sure that there are appropriate bus stops for our families. I remind parents again that we do have guidelines that we post on our website We do not provide door-to-door bus stops anymore unless it's a safety issue in the eyes of the bus company. And then if there's a review necessary, then I go out and I visit the site personally and I examine it for safety purposes. There are lots of reasons that bus routes can change over the course of year to year. And parents have to pay attention to the bus routes when they're posted. They will be posted in early August so that you can look at them. And I really do encourage you to look at them then as opposed to the night before school starts, because they do change and they can change. And what changes are likely are actual bus stops. And so these can change because of new students that move into the district, and new developments that have come online and all of a sudden are ready because 5 families have moved into the development, and so that can move the bus stop. And certainly for grades 9 through 12, the bus stops are different than grades K through 8. And so those of you who have students who are moving into the 9th grade really should be paying attention to those bus stop changes, because they may not be the same that you've experienced in your K through 8 experience. So those will also be happening this summer, and in August they'll be posted to our website. So that's Nashoba Now. I'm Michael Woods, Superintendent of Schools. Have a great summer.